Hi everybody, my name's Regina. I'm a education intern here this summer at Sea Turtle Inc. And I'm coming from you live in South Padre Island, Texas at Sea Turtle Inc. We are a nonprofit that has a 3-tier goal to help sea turtles through hospital work with our rehab department, education, as well as conservation. So today I'll be doing a resident spotlight. We're going to be talking about Fred the Loggerhead. Fred is a patient that we have here that's been with us since the year 2000, and I'm going to switch around and give you a look at him. So there's Fred. As I talk to you today, feel free to tell me where you're tuning in from, as always. We love to see where people are listening. So right now I am up on top of Fred's tank here in our education building. You'll be able to look around and see he's got a very nice large tank. I like to kind of compare them to above ground swimming pools almost. So like I mentioned, Fred is a loggerhead sea turtle, and he was brought into us actually from Port Aransas here in Texas. That's a little bit further up the coast from us here in South Padre Island. He was found in 1999, all wrapped up in fishing line, and the hospital there unfortunately was not able to save one of his flippers. So you'll see when he's resting right now that front left flipper has actually been removed. Once he was found, they believed that he could still be released because typically sea turtles with 3 flippers are okay to be released back into the wild. So he was sent on his way, but after he was released from Port Aransas, he actually still came back to us 2 more times. So on the second time, they realized that Fred really didn't have as good of a chance in the wild as we may have hoped. So that's why he was then adopted by us here at Sea Turtle Inc. in the year 2000. So he's been with us for over 20 years, and he's been happy hanging out here and teaching the public about loggerhead sea turtles. So if you have any questions about Fred or about his enclosure or what we do here at Sea Turtle Inc., just give me a shout. I'll keep talking about all different sorts of things here. So the loggerhead sea turtle, oh, hi Mom and Dad. The loggerhead sea turtles are a really interesting species. If you'll notice on Fred's head, he's got a massive head, and that's where the name loggerhead sea turtle actually comes from. It's because of their large heads. They have a bite force of about 500 pounds, and they use that strong jaw to crack open things like horseshoe crabs and other crustaceans. That's one of their favorite foods. Here at the hospital, Fred is actually getting a lot of tilapia and other sorts of seafood in his diet. We aren't able to get horseshoe crabs in here for him, unfortunately. Then, if you look here too, he's got some fish hanging out with him. When our when our new education building was first made, we were able to get some natural native fish in his tank to make it feel a little bit homier. Somebody asked, does Fred like to swim in his tank, or does he just hang out? So he's hanging out right by the glass there where the public can see him, and a lot of people will ask me actually how long he can stay underwater, because he likes to really be lazy and sit on the bottom of his tank. And he'll actually be able to hold his breath for a few hours underwater if he so chose. But right now, he's doing what he does best, which is taking a quick nap underwater and resting a little bit. But he does swim around on occasion, especially when it's time for him to get fed. But yeah, I had someone ask too about the difference between loggerheads and greens. So you can always tell by the marks on their head. So the loggerhead sea turtles in general have a larger sized head, but they also don't have 2 scales in between their eyes like the greens do. But their shell is also a different color too. Typically loggerheads have that sort of rusty brown color, and then the greens are much more vibrant. An interesting thing about the loggerhead shells as well, Fred's shell is clean, but if you were to see a loggerhead in the wild, odds were you would actually find a lot of different things living on their back. There have been a documented 100 or so different species that have been shown to live on a loggerhead's back in the wild. So they are a habitat for all different sorts of species of things, like barnacles and vegetation. Everybody loves to hang out on a loggerhead's back. And how long do they live? That's a great question. So loggerhead sea turtles, as well as most sea turtle species, can live to, we say, about an average human lifespan. So they can be 70 to 80 years old. So Fred's got a long life ahead of him. We think he's probably in his 20s right now, somewhere in there, and he's got a long ways to go. So Deanna says that this is her dream vacation. We hope to see you one day, Deanna. It's an awesome facility that we have here. You'll be able to see as well all of the other resident tanks here. We have 5 permanent residents, and we also have more than 20 patients in our hospital right now. And this is a loggerhead sea turtle, and he was rescued when he was found wrapped up in fishing line in Port Aransas, and he lost one of his flippers, and then he's been with us ever since. If anybody has any guesses, you can put into the chat how much you think Fred weighs. We'll see if any of you can get that right. He's a pretty big guy. If there's any guesses on how much he might weigh, let me know. We'll see if anybody gets it right. Fred also has a lot of structure here in his enclosure. You'll see that white cover there. That's a nice place for him to rest under if he wants to stop drifting around his tank. He'll sometimes hunker down there. And he's even got some logs here too that he likes to push around and scratch his back on. Susan says she thinks that Fred is 185 pounds. It's a good guess. I see 350 from Justice. 300. All right, we got people pretty close in the ballpark here. 140. Yeah, so Fred actually weighs 220 pounds. That was the last weigh-in that he got here at our clinic. So we got a lot of people that were pretty close. So Fred is a fully matured adult loggerhead sea turtle. And the reason that we know that he is a male fully adult turtle is because of the length of his tail. So if you'll notice right here on the back end of Fred, he's got that tail. When sea turtles reach a mature size, they will actually get longer tails if they are a male. So Fred's got his tail kind of tucked in right now around the back of his shell, but he has a very long, pronounced tail that's different from female sea turtles. Susan wants to know, what do they eat? So loggerhead sea turtles love to eat things with hard shells. They'll oftentimes crack open things like horseshoe crabs, conch shells, and all different sorts of things that require their strong 500-pound bite force. Oop, looks like he's doing a little bit of swimming here for us. All sea turtle species, some people are surprised to know, will occasionally eat jellyfish too. So jellyfish are a specialty that oftentimes gives sea turtles water that they need too. So you'll see he's got some swimming going on here. So he's swimming around right now. And you can see as well that he is missing that one flipper in his front left. That was again lost when he was wrapped up in fishing line. We have a couple turtles here that are missing their flippers for a variety of different reasons. Fred is the only one though that is missing his flipper due to being entangled. Oh, and he's taking a big deep breath. And back under he goes. So like I mentioned earlier, sea turtles can hold their breaths for hours if they so choose. Though here in his tank, Fred doesn't always have to do that. Like I said, Fred's a little bit lazy. He is a favorite of the staff here though. He's a gentle giant. How do we clean the tank? There's a lot of algae. That's a great question. So our tank, or Fred's tank here, is actually cleaned by our staff. Someone will get on a swimsuit and jump in the pool with him and scrub down the walls. And Fred is a very polite guy and he doesn't mind that one bit. taking a lot of breaths here. Swimming around. Jennifer says he is beautiful. I'm sure Fred would be very happy to hear you think that. And if anybody is tuning in new, feel free to let me know in the comments where you are from. We love to see where different people are listening in. And if you have any questions, please give a shout. Fred is my favorite. I know a lot of our staff here at Sea Turtle Inc. feel the same way. He's a pretty cute guy. All right. Do they live their entire life in the water since they are ocean dwellers? East Coast turtles can be found on a rock basking in the sun. Susan, that's a great question. So sea turtles in this area, the only reason that we would see them come out on the sand from the ocean is because they are either injured or nesting. And those are two things that we cover here at Sea Turtle Inc. They are all, if we ever see a turtle reported here at Sea Turtle Inc., we will send out a team to check in on them to either see if they are injured or nesting. That's the two reasons they come out of the water here. We do have a hotline. If you are ever in the area of South Padre Island, look us up. We'll be able to put that in the comments, I'm sure, too. In case you ever do find a sea turtle, give us a call. One thing we do here that people like quite a bit, I know, is that if you find a sea turtle that's washed up on the shore, you actually get the chance to name that patient. So we've had a lot of interesting names throughout the years. I know one staff favorite was Brisket. We just had a turtle brought in yesterday, actually, named Rocket Man. We had Bean last week, too. All sorts of cute names out there. All right, well, I think it is about time for me to wrap up this Facebook Live. I hope you all had a great time looking in on Fred here, learning a little bit about Loggerhead sea turtles, as well as Fred's own personal story. If you all feel connected to Fred after seeing him swim around here, I encourage you to check out our website. You can actually sponsor Fred. We like to call it an adoption, where you can help us help Fred and be an own sponsor for him. So I encourage you all to look into that. And thank you all so much for tuning in. We're located in South Padre Island, Texas. Yes. If you ever come down for a visit, feel free to check out our facility. We've got, like I said, this beautiful education building here, as well as our hospital, where you can see some of the patients that we're currently taking care of and hope to release. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all have a good Easter and a great rest of your day.